This is Game On Champions Trophy special. One final time we are here to build up to the Champions Trophy final. Yes, the stage couldn't have been set better. Two of the best teams in the tournament are ready to battle it out for one final time to lift Champions Trophy 2025. The last time India won it was in 2013, and the last time New Zealand won the Champions Trophy was back in 2000. Both these teams will be desperate to win this coveted crown, given that they have come so close on many occasions in ICC ODI tournaments in the recent times, but haven't been able to win them. So then, are we all ready for what will be a Sunday blockbuster? Yes, we are. India have been packing their side with spinners, and it'll be no different in the final. Expect the men in blue to lean on the strength of their spinners. Dubai has been perfect for India in that regard. They haven't had to travel. Yes, they have the right resources for the conditions in Dubai. Let me also clarify at this point that the advantage that India has in not traveling and staying put in one place is something the players haven't asked for. So they have the advantage, and they're using it to their benefit. But if there's one team that comes close to balancing the scale, it is New Zealand. Their spinners have been brilliant in this tournament, picking up 17 wickets. Their batters are adept at countering spin. From Rachin Ravindra to Daryl Mitchell to Kane Williamson, their batters have the footwork and the shots to tackle India's spin menace. And what will also help them is having the experience of playing that one game in Dubai. Talking about the conditions, the semi-final was played on a fresh pitch, and it seemed slightly better for batting, but it wasn't anywhere close to the flat tracks that we have seen in Pakistan. India have won 3 games chasing and 1 where they set the total. However, given the pressure of a final, teams winning the toss are likely to bat first, set a total, and try to defend it. Now, the last time India and New Zealand met in this tournament was last Sunday in Dubai. Matt Henry and Varun Chakravarti returned with identical figures of 5 for 42. Now, as the teams play for the trophy today, Matt Henry, he's a doubtful starter, and India will be relying heavily on Varun Chakravarti. New Zealand coach Gary Stead, he talked about both the potential match winners for their respective teams.
Matt Henry obviously landed on his shoulder, and it was pretty uncomfortable. I guess the positive thing from our perspective is he got back out there to bowl. We've had some scans and stuff done on him, and we're going to give him every chance to be playing in this match. So still a little bit unknown at this stage. He's obviously pretty sore just from landing on the point of his shoulder, but yeah, hopeful he will be okay. Varun, I mean, he's obviously a very good bowler. He bowled very well. We'll have a look at the pitch conditions down there as well, and see what the effect is that he may have on the game as well. So look, we certainly expect him to play after getting 5 for 42 against us in the last game, and yeah, we'll be planning our I guess intentions around that as well.
All right, I have with me 3 gentlemen who've covered a lot of cricket, let me tell you. Jamie Alter joins us from Dubai. He's been there from the very beginning, has seen each one of those 4 wins for India. Shekhar Luthra, he joins us, senior sports journalist, and also joining me is author, senior sports journalist Satish Vishwanathan. And let me tell you that he was present in Nairobi when India were beaten by New Zealand in that Champions Trophy final. And we are hoping, Satish sir, that will be changed this time around. But let me begin with Jamie, because it's extremely hot. So let's first find out what the conditions are going to be like, Jamie, and what the teams will look to do. But it couldn't have been better, the final. I mean, India, New Zealand, 2 teams, best teams in the tournament. They both have great resources in terms of tackling the conditions in Dubai. Thoda sa, there is nervousness. You know, India may be slightly better, but come on. New Zealand have beaten us before.
New Zealand have indeed, may have beaten India not so long ago, 2021 WTC final. And again, that rather engaging 2000 semi-final which Satish there was at. But again, look, I mean, we're not even going back down that route about advantage and all that stuff. India just man to man just do seem like the better team. Of course, I mean, New Zealand are, to my mind, second best here. They're the worthy opponents to India in this in this Champions Trophy, and I hope we get a cracking match. But again, the same thing I said the other day before the Australia-India semi-final. India have virtually all boxes ticked and know exactly what has to be done right here at this Dubai International Cricket Stadium. It's the India-Pakistan trip from 2 weeks ago. Won't be too different. We know it's Dubai, big outfield, sluggish track, puts a premium on running ones and twos. And both teams have batsmen who are skilled at playing spin. Some will say New Zealand batsmen on form are playing spin better than India. But again, I have to be somewhat pro-Indian because I've been watching this team for the last, I think it's my 19th day, but it feels like I've been here since the dawn of time because it's one of those strange tournaments where in 19 days you've only covered 4 matches. This is the 5th match. But jokes aside, it's a very, very, or I'll say the easiest chance India, to my mind at least, and I might be proven wrong, but it's the easiest chance India will have in a long, long time to win a 50-over ICC trophy.
I don't think Satish sir will agree to you, Jamie, because he has seen what New Zealand can do to India, although it was 25 years ago. Satish sir, how do you look at this team and what Jamie was saying? You know, I mean, when you look at both sides, you say, listen, on paper, these two look good, but yes, India do have that slight advantage of having played here. All their games that they've played here, they know exactly what to do. They have, an extra spinner. They've been very good in the way they've dominated the middle overs with their spin quartet. But having said that, there is a New Zealand side who've got batters who are in form, spinners who've actually done well. I mean, you look at Michael Bracewell or for that matter, Mitchell Santner, they're among the wickets. They know exactly how to bowl in these conditions. How are you looking at this game, sir?
Look, I'm not going back 25 years. I'm just going back, 6 months down the line when New Zealand beat us 3-0 in the Test series.
Yes.
I mean, that showed that spin, is no longer our forte. New Zealand, as Jamie also mentioned, they got quite a few people who play spin pretty well. But the thing with the New Zealand side always, not today, even earlier, is that they really combine to make a sum of, you talk about 150%, which actually doesn't exist, but these people do that. They get together as a team and they rise above their, talent, they bring everything together and they are able to always punch above their weight. That is the beauty of New Zealand. Man to man, if you look at it, I mean, easily we should be able to, outbeat their in terms of skills and all that. But you can never count a New Zealand side out. And I don't know, the pressure of handling a final, India recently done that, succeeded in Barbados. But we know the story in Barbados, just anything could happen. One catch, the line changed the whole thing, and we turned out to be victors. And that was against South Africa, who were known to sort of throw it away when they're in winning positions. So I think it's very much an open game. I don't think we can tag anybody as favourites. If at all we do, yes, it has to be India. But that's always with New Zealand. New Zealand never start anything as favourites, but they're capable. And you know what they've done last 2 times. They've beaten us, in the World Test Championship. And last time I met them in the ICC knockout then. Again, that was 25 years back. Luckily, they don't have a Chris Gaines anymore. They don't have a guy like Chris Gaines. So
yes.
That also should give them an advantage.
Yes. From Saurav Ganguly's century, which was overshadowed by Chris Gaines in that game. But there's something about New Zealand that one has to admire, Shekhar sir. I mean, when you look at this side, these are a bunch of nice guys. They don't have the resources. Look at where they come from and what they've done in ICC tournaments. And you've got to doff your hat and say, boss, you're doing this with half the resources that some of the other teams have, including the one that you're playing against in the final. And somehow you don't see these guys cribbing about anything else. They just put their heads together. They focus on the job at hand. And that's why they have been so good, isn't it?
Absolutely, Vivek. I go with, what Satish was saying. On present, on papers, India definitely looks good. But look at the last 3 months. They came to India, they decimated us, they played on the turning tracks, they outplayed us, their spinners were better, their batters were actually, tackling our spinners much, much better than India could do. So, mentally, when we talk about the mental aspects, I think they are one up. there. And talk about the last match also, New Zealand. I think they restricted us. 249 was not a good score on that wicket. And definitely their spinners were doing well until one point, till, they were going, absolutely in the right direction. They were winning the game. But absolutely it was their choice. I firmly believe they had that choice whether to win or to lose. They probably opted for the other thing. They never wanted to face Australians. That's their rivalry. They wanted India to play Australia. So that's how I won't say it was fixed. Of course not. It was a tactical thing which they had the option to choose, and they probably opted for that. Look at that, stepping out Kane Williamson. He was not trying to come back. He was not trying to even meet the ball, that time. He was getting, stumped. Or that other way around, care around. When he was trying to, run out another fellow, I think it was not the Kane Williamson, the other one. And he was not putting that effort. He also wanted somebody to play Australia. So in my, probably in my calculation, New Zealand in last 3 months have scored over India so many times in 3 test matches in one game. Yes, on papers, we are the table toppers. We are the favorites and we have been playing. Our players have not opted to play their all games there. But you have to understand, they knew it is going to happen. BCCI is not going to Pakistan. Government is not allowing them. So we have that advantage. But losing 14 tosses, I believe today India should win that toss in order to have a little bit of advantage. Otherwise, it could be just 50-50, or rather, I would say 1% more to New Zealand than to India.
Okay. Now, there's an important point which Shekhar has raised, Jamie, and you agree with that, which is that, maybe it was a tactical decision, though I don't understand why Kane Williamson had to go on to score 80 runs before he decided to step out and get out in that fashion. But having said that, that's an interesting one. And the other being, which I want you to put the focus on, is what the mood has been like in the Indian camp. You watched them train in these few days after that semi-final against Australia. What has the mood been like? The talk around conditions, the talk around advantage. Tell us more.
I'll just pick up very briefly on what Shekhar sir said. Even that day, and I mentioned this on another show, let's just say New Zealand didn't bring the intensity which you expected them to bring. The 49 could have been chased. Tactical or not, I don't know about that, but it was not the usual, the usual New Zealand we've seen. I think we're going to get to see that New Zealand. Maybe they made some mistakes. Maybe they took it a little bit lighter than usual. I don't think we're going to see the same New Zealand team that lost by 44 odd runs that day. I think it's going to be a much tactically stronger and harder New Zealand team, like we expect them to be when it comes to these events. Coming back to the mood, look, it's a strange tournament. Like I said, I've been here for 18, 19, almost 3 weeks, and it's only the 5th match going on. It is what it is. We've done enough discussions about the nature and the scheduling of this show. It's also strange because unlike previous major tournaments, Meha, we've seen 3-4 times a certain member, on any given day of the Indian team has come earlier. I'm talking about 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours before the team is scheduled to come and train on their own. On unscheduled, on days when they've been off, players have come and done that. And we know why. They want to be away from the glare of the media. They want to be aware from the glare of the fans. They don't want to let people know that they're here, because unlike a lot of other venues in Dubai, you can virtually get as close to the nets as possible if you're a fan, and you can shoot and you can wave your flag and your miniature bats. So getting away from that has been a premium for certain Indian players. But when they've all gotten together, I can tell you, I've watched all 5 of their practice sessions. The intensity has not dropped for a second. You could accuse them of perhaps taking things light when they've had 3, 4, 5 day gaps, Neha. And there have been days when they've not even come to the ground. They've done their sightseeing. They've spent time in the hotel with their families, all that good stuff. But the moment they've rocked up to train, yes, the football comes out, there's jokes. But behind the jokes, behind the certain garden mein ghoomne wale comments that Rohit Sharma still gives in Hindi when he's joking around with his team, behind all that is the intensity, which leads me to believe once again that India are going to be the winning team about 7-8 hours from now at this Dubai stadium.
Okay, I'm going to pick on that and talk about Rohit Sharma and how important a moment this could be for him, Shekhar sir. He's already, part of history in that India have won the 2024 T20 World Cup. India went very close to winning the 2023 ODI World Cup, lost in the final to Australia. If Rohit Sharma, the captain, ends up winning the Champions Trophy, then you're putting him with MS Dhoni there. You're putting him as one of the greats. You're also then saying that, what the loss in 2023 World Cup finals has been somewhat avenged, has been somewhat, you can bury the ghosts of that. So important, and for all you know, I mean, Shubman Gill was asked about this in the press conference, and he said, listen, we are going to take a call on Rohit Sharma after the tournament. And of course, it was a silly question to ask to Shubman Gill. What does he know of Rohit Sharma's retirement? But that is one of the other things that, that is in the background. That is this the last that we see of Rohit Sharma in ODI? So a lot of things there.
I have absolutely no doubt that anybody who is watching this game is going to watch Rohit Sharma for the last time. For two reasons. It was so embarrassing in the last test in Australia when he sat out. Obviously, that has never happened to any Indian captain. He has taken that in his stride, which is a great thing as a professional. But as a captain, I would say he's under pressure. Obviously, he has to deliver, and if he wins, that's the best time for him to walk out of the game. With the honors, with all kind of people asking why now, why not little bit more you can play. But if he doesn't, and if he doesn't do well as a player also there, as a opener, then there are more reasons that he has been talked about by the selectors, by the chief coach, and obviously there was always an example in the last test in Australia where he had to sit out whatever he has to say, but it was embarrassing for any Indian cricket fan. So I think he has all the reasons right now to win the cup and go away with on a very high. But again, it is all about a toss, one thing, and second, also about his own batting form. His feet are not moving. He has been playing, obviously with the reflexes, but that's the way he has been playing, and he has for last 2-3 years. I would say more than 2 years. Yeah. So that's the way Rohit is. But I will, when you ask me to compare with Dhoni, I don't think as a captain we can compare. But as a player, I'll put him much higher than anybody else. Okay. He's a great white ball player, and especially the one-day player.
Okay, now T20I skipper Surya Kumar Yadav, he said this about Rohit Sharma. He said that Rohit will lead the men in blue to triumph against New Zealand. Today, he also said that Rohit is easily the most honest and clean-hearted man, and that he always lets others grow. On the eve of the Champions Trophy, this is what he said, of the final, this is what he said. He said he is very natural and instinctive. Whatever he does, he keeps others in front and watches others grow. He is an easily approachable man. He always raises his hand and says, I will do this for you. He's very natural on and off the field, clean-hearted, very honest. Now, India have been unbeaten in Dubai in the run-up to the Champions Trophy final. New Zealand, on the other hand, they suffered their only defeat of the tournament to India. Last Sunday, Surya Kumar Yadav said that he won't look beyond India to regain the trophy. He said India is winning the final. It's simple. India has been playing an amazing brand of cricket for the last 2 years, and that they should just be themselves. Why I picked on that captaincy part was not just for the results that Indian team have delivered under Rohit Sharma, but it's also the sense of security that players feel with him. And if Satish sir is there with us, if he's joined us back, I want to go to him about, how the players, when they talk about Rohit Sharma, you get a sense that he is one of those leaders who will always, it's not his way or the highway. He will always try to, talk to you in a friendly way. He'll always try to promote you. And you also see that ease in him, in the way he's talking to the players. There is this genuineness about him. Do you agree that that's another reason why we've seen some of these players do well under him? I mean, that's a dressing room full of, I don't know, lot of egos. And for him to be able to handle all those egos and then get the best out of them.
No, great point actually. He will possibly go down as possibly one of the best captains you've had for this season. I know Shekhar was talking about Dhoni being a better captain in some terms, but in terms of these kind of skills, the kind of comfort that the dressing room has, I mean, I spent a lot of time with Rahul Dravid, and I know nobody else could have called Rahul out of, come back and take over the team again after his stint was over. It's not easy to persuade a Rahul. Only a Rohit could, because that's the kind of chemistry they both had. And you know what kind of a gentleman Rahul is.
Yeah.
For him to come back. So Rohit has this presence. A few years back, he led, I think it was the Asia Cup, again it was in UAE, and Kohli was missing. Prior to that, there was a meeting. The board had called for a meeting, so the CEO actually had called for a meeting with Rohit, Kohli, I think Ravi Shastri all were present. Rohit is supposed to have made a statement there that too much of chopping and axing in the Indian team. He doesn't believe in this. He thinks there should be a continuity. And he implemented that moment he went to the Asian, I think it was the Asia Cup. So he has shown that the players really believe in him. I mean, I'm not commenting on the fact they don't believe in a Kohli or something. Kohli had his time as skipper, did pretty well. But Rohit brings an entirely different thing to captaincy. His approach, his leading by example. Some may say throwing away his wicket, in circumstances, he could just bat out for selfish reasons. He never done that. He goes out in all blazing glory. We would like to see him bat 30 overs because it's great fun. But he cannot. The way he's batting, the high risk that he takes, you have to accept that he's going to get out 20s, 30s. The day he delivers his 70s, 80s, 100s, then we are a huge total. So he's just showing the way. And that's what a leader must do, right? Ultimately, you need to win. The leader plays his part not only with the bat, but things around it. And I think there, Rohit really scores. So if at all this is the last match, and I agree with something that this could perhaps be, he's just sand song. He may just call it off, but he'll go down as a great servant of Indian cricket and sometimes master too for his captains.
100%. Okay, you're talking about a captain who makes an impact in this team. Jamie, I want to talk about another player who makes a huge impact, and something that Ravichandran Ashwin said, which is so true, where he said that, listen, Virat Kohli is able to play like the way he's playing in this Champions Trophy because of the cushion he gets from Shreyas Iyer. And I want to talk about Shreyas Iyer and the impact that Shreyas Iyer has made in the middle order for this Indian team. Not just in this Champions Trophy, we saw that in the 2023 ODI World Cup as well. You talk about being aggressive, you talk about taking on the spinners. He's done that to perfection, hasn't he?
And he's been doing it for a long time, Meha. This is nothing new. And even before, I know he had a bumper personal World Cup 18, 19, 20 months ago. But he's been doing this for a long time. You look at his stats, and can you imagine it's this Shreyas Iyer who Ashwin was absolutely spot on about in terms of the cushion he gives to Virat Kohli and whoever's coming behind him. It was this same Iyer, Meha, that Rohit Sharma and Gautam Gambhir had told that you're not playing that opening match in Nagpur, 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And I was at that match, and I watched Shreyas Iyer give a fitting reply. He got a half century of 27 balls, and then he said he was very, very open. And can you imagine that the coach and captain are not valuing him, that they told him a day before the match that you're not playing? And Shreyas Iyer got that chance in Nagpur only because Virat Kohli pulled up with the right knee. If we sitting in studios and in our homes and at grounds can understand the value, you're telling me that Yashasvi Jaiswal merited a place ahead of Shreyas Iyer. I have no doubt that this is going to be Rohit Sharma's last ICC match. We'll be watching Jaiswal bat here, hopefully for the next 15 years. But you do not bench a man of Shreyas Iyer's success and ability. So I'm still shocked. A lot of people praise the way that Rohit and Gambhir go about thinking. I still, and I was at that match, it's coming up to a month, I think. I cannot wrap my head around why they would have wanted to keep this Shreyas Iyer outside. Remains 6-7 years into his India career, remains undervalued, underutilized, and I think we lost a chance to groom the ideal next Indian captain. Instead, they've gone for Shubman Gill. To my mind, looking at Shreyas Iyer's domestic and IPL captaincy, he should have been the man to lead India whenever Rohit goes. So absolutely, I'm on the same page as Ravichandran Ashwin.
Okay, Shekhar sir, do you agree? Do you think that this is, because we were all surprised. Now, I also have to add in this that Jamie, you're saying Rohit Sharma and Gautam Gambhir. I don't know how much of these decisions are being made by Rohit Sharma and Gautam Gambhir. I mean, from all that we are hearing around what's happening with the Indian team, that a lot of these decisions are in fact being made by Gautam Gambhir, who has been making these changes, because what has changed in the time that Rohit Sharma was giving Shreyas Iyer an opportunity and he was your ideal number 5 in the 2023 World Cup to now to before as well. The only change has been Gautam Gambhir having taken over and wanting to change that. The good thing about this is, and I again salute Shreyas Iyer for doing what he did, where as soon as he scored his brilliant knock against England, he came out and said, "Boss, I wasn't being, I was being benched for Virat Kohli," and I mean that if that's what is needed to be in the team, then so be it. But Shekhar, your thoughts on this?
Well, I 100% agree with what Tom was saying. Jamie was saying. We have wasted Shreyas Iyer, obviously, in last 2 or 3 years because of the injuries, because of too much of T20, because of, asking him to lead this franchisee or the other, putting him under so much of pressure. It is not just Shreyas Iyer, it is also about KL Rahul. I believe they both has to be there in the Indian team by virtue of being the technically more sound than any other individual. Of course, Shubman Gill I'll put in that thing. Look at 2 years back. Shreyas Iyer was groomed as a captain. He was then dropped. He then got injured. Everything happened. And what is happening to KL Rahul? He is being asked there to obviously go behind the wickets, sit there for 20 overs or 50 overs and then come out and bat. He was never meant to be like that. He is a pure batsman. He has never done that even for his state. He was made. Same thing happened with Rahul Dravid, if Satish could add on to that. Because during that 2003 World Cup in South Africa. But after that he refused. I believe he refused. He said, I am a pure batsman. Why should put that extra pressure on me? So I think this cricket board or this whatever think tank has been very unfair to KL Rahul and especially for the Shreyas Iyer. He has to be there. He's a good thinker of the game. He should be groomed as a captain, whether or not there'll be a rivalry between others and him. But he's definitely a number 1 player for India.
Okay, now we move on to talk about Virat Kohli and how good has he been in this Champions Trophy, gentlemen. Yes, we've spoken about Shreyas Iyer and the impact he's had in the middle overs, but if there's one man who's leading this from the front, it is Virat Kohli. What are you seeing today, Jamie, that Virat Kohli will do? It's a final. It's a great opportunity for him. Knockout games in ICC tournaments, not the biggest for him in terms of numbers. So this is again a huge opportunity to, shape this tournament, but also, in the long list of things that he's achieved, the unending list of things, this could be added as well.
Absolutely, and I think given the fact that he's on the wrong side of 36, despite being the fittest Indian player still out there, I think this is as good as we can expect from him. It's not been blockbuster, it's been efficient batting from Virat Kohli.
Yes.
Excuse me, he's understood the conditions, he's understood the challenges, he's understood the role, he's used the crease, he's used the spinners, the pacers to the way he wants them to use. I remember, he got that 84 against Australia, only five boundaries. So 36 and a half pushing 37, you're running that many singles and doubles because you understand the challenges, you understand your limitations. He's not the Virat Kohli we've watched for so many years, but he's still doing just enough to remind people that at least in the one-day format, my views in regards to Virat Kohli, the test batsman, but in the one-day format, he looks like a solid bet to go to South Africa 2.5 years down the line. Because at this age where Rohit Sharma is struggling, when we talk about Rohit Sharma, the amount of times in the England series and in this series, the balls which he's played with a horizontal bat, they've barely gone over the 30-yard circle. Virat Kohli is not taking those risks. He's instead relying on what's got him so many runs, the fitness, the running, the dabs. So if you compare the two, and we have to compare the two because they are the biggest names, Meha, in this Indian team. They're the most successful white ball players from India of this era. Look at what Rohit Sharma is doing. He's taking the quote-unquote selfless route because he knows he cannot bat 20 overs anymore in a one-day match. Right. Virat Kohli is not in that mind frame. He's fitter than Rohit Sharma. He's more driven than Rohit Sharma. And while I said this has not been an outstanding Champions Trophy, it's still been a very good, a very efficient Champions Trophy. And I hope once again that Virat Kohli does just enough to keep people, at bay and to say why more than Rohit Sharma, he's the one that we should be talking about in regards to the next 2.5 years.
That's right. I've got to also talk about the backdrop in which, how this team entered the Champions Trophy and why these two, especially Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, were under tremendous amount of pressure, Satish sir, in the way he got out in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia, again and again, flirting outside the off stump, getting it almost, it was, by the end it became comical, but at the same time, it was sad to see that the legend of his stature, the player of his stature was going through that phase to now come to this point where he's been instrumental in getting India to the final of the Champions Trophy. And the fact that he is the greatest in ODIs, how special is this for Virat Kohli at 36, like Jamie was saying, to be able to win a final, to play a match-winning knock in the final?
Look, the usual cliche will be every match, they want to win. Every match they play for India, they'll want to win. But we know the India's record recently in ICC tournaments. So this becomes a much bigger match than usual. This final is huge. But, you cannot buy experience. And that's what Virat brings to the thing. You ask any opponent around the world at any stage. Even in that series in Australia, when you're struggling, you ask the Australians, they said, the wicket we want is Virat. Because they know with Virat back, they're well into the Indian batting lineup. That's what happens here too. Even the other day, when Virat got out against Australia, there was a little flutter, right? All of us would have felt, here the doors, the man with the chase, the golden chase as we call him, he's gone. So what will happen now? We had KL and Hardik coming and doing their stuff. But you need this one. You know the importance of Virat in a chase, or even in a setup actually of a target. And these are the conditions which are perfect for him. Jamie made a nice point about how he is now waiting for the spinners. That is key. He's changed that. So can you imagine at this point of time in his career, where he has conquered everything, the man is still learning. He's still doing things which, youngsters will be happy with doing, that he's picking up what to do, how to do something better. That I think is his greatness, where he's not resting on his laurels. He knows every match you got to prove yourself. You can't just say, I'm Virat Kohli, the runs will come to me. No, he's earning his runs even today, and he's making the opposition cry.
Okay, let's talk about the conditions now. We've seen it all. We've seen India chasing and winning. We've seen India setting a total and winning. We've also seen Rohit Sharma never win a toss in the recent times. And frankly, in this tournament, it doesn't matter as long as India are winning. But Jamie, in a big match like this, in a big tournament, final of an ICC tournament, of course, teams winning the toss would want to bat first.
I would imagine more so given the way the heat has just gone up in the last hour or so here. But again, Rohit Sharma has now lost 12 tosses in a row. It's not making an iota of difference to the team's momentum, to the result. So I would say if you do win the toss, you bat here. But I don't think it's actually going to make a difference, especially to India. They've had a range of targets in front of them. One was the first match against Bangladesh. I think that was one of the trickier pitches they played on. Target was 229. They got into the 47th over to do that. And then against Australia, what is it, 265. But that also came slightly down to the wire. But I think, like I said, this Indian team knows exactly what to do, Meha, at the Dubai Stadium. And more than that, I said it before on one of your shows. Barring November 19th when they failed at the final attempt, they patented the bilateral one-day game. So I think they've approached this whole series as just a bilateral game. We're playing at one venue. We've been here before. And the standard of cricket, barring two teams, is not that high. So I think it's the way they've approached this. So bat first, ideally in this weather. But if Rohit Sharma loses the toss, and frankly, how many of us are actually hoping that he wins the toss? I'm not one of them. Jo bhi ho, at least team match jeet rahi hai. But I think this Indian team, whatever challenge that New Zealand throws down their way, batting first or bowling first. I think they're well coped, Meha, to end up winners this evening.
Okay, let's also take reactions from Satish sir and Shekhar sir. What do they think?
Okay, if I can, I think the main thing usually with the toss is the dew factor. That
Yes.
doesn't seem to be there. Jamie can clarify if any dew is expected today. As long as there's no
sir.
dew, it doesn't really matter because, the chase, we've got the best chaser in the world in Virat Kohli. If you want to set a target, Rohit will get you off the blocks. So either way, the toss doesn't matter that much because the wickets have not been that bad. We've been talking about it being on the slower side. Yes, that's about it. It's not really deteriorated. So conditions are not changed from the first session to the second session in a big way. So as long as you play a good cricket, which the toss, whoever loses the toss will say that, right? If you play good cricket, doesn't matter. But that's actually true because the wickets have not changed in nature that much. And if there's no dew, it doesn't matter what you do actually.
Okay, and what's a good score you think for the team batting first, Shekhar sir?
I think if India is batting, obviously, looking at how Rohit, takes that game out of, everybody's thing. If he could stay there for 10 overs, 15 overs, I think India can easily come around, 300. And that should be the, I wish India wins the toss and takes batting. That's one advantage India could have. But otherwise, if New Zealand is batting first, then we have seen last time it was another thing which I have already discussed. But this time, look at their batters, look at the way they have approached the games. They have always, scored almost 300 plus things. So in that thing, and India being one batter short maybe, because putting that four spinners and more of the all-rounders, one specialist batsman is maybe we are missing. Then it could be a difficult chase when it comes to around 300 on Dubai pitches. But without you, obviously, Indian spinners are going to thrive, whether this way or that way. It is only up to the New Zealand batters, how they tackle us, and they have tackled us much better than any other team.
Okay, this is what now, if there's one player that New Zealand will be wary of in the final, it's mystery spinner Varun Chakravarti. He's played all of 3 ODIs and he's got 8 wickets. He averages 18.12. Now, the best haul came against New Zealand in this team's final group match when on a big turning track, he claimed 5 for 42 with several New Zealand batters unable to pick him. Mitchell Santner was asked about Varun Chakravarti on the eve of the finals. This is what he said. He thinks that having seen him in one game will make it easier for the batters. He said, and I quote, I think guys will be better for the run against Varun. He's obviously a world-class bowler. We've seen it here and in the IPL. He's got that little bit of mystery, but it was the first time some of the guys have been facing him. I think they will learn from the other day. If the pitch plays a similar way, it's going to be a challenge along with all 3 of their other spinners. I think the boys will be ready for tomorrow, having looked at a little bit more of the footage. We know what his threats are now. That 115 kph arm ball, that got me. That was a bit of a threat. So they would have done their homework on this. Now, former India wicketkeeper Deep Dasgupta, he said that it was going to be an intriguing finale between the 2 best teams in the tournament. He also felt that Rohit Sharma is due for a big knock.
न्यूजीलैंड टीम के खिलाफ जो भी मैचेस थे, जो पहला वाला हम जीते, बहुत अच्छी हमने गेंदबाजी की, खास करके वरुण, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा जो चैलेंज इस टूर्नामेंट में है वो न्यूजीलैंड के खिलाफ होने वाला है और फाइनल में इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है। दुबई में पहले खेल चुके हैं, भारत के खिलाफ खेल चुके हैं, लगभग इसी टीम के खिलाफ खेला है जो कॉम्बिनेशन के साथ अब भारत खेल रही है, तो मेरे ख्याल से बहुत ही नजदीकी मामला होगा। हम जानते हैं रोहित को डबल 100 के लिए, 170, 180 के लिए, लेकिन उनका खेलने का तरीका बदल गया है, भारतीय टीम का खेलने का तरीका बदल गया है, लेकिन बहुत जरूरी है कि रोहित उसी तरीके से बैटिंग करे। हम जरूर उम्मीद करेंगे कि 30-40 की जगह 130-140 हो।
All right, Suresh Raina is backing India as well as the contenders for the Champions Trophy. He has said that he suggested, in fact, that India should continue with 4 spinners, saying why he thinks of fixing something when it is not broken. Listen in to what he has to say.
Sir, India ही आएगी और प्लेयर बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हो. I think Rohit led the team really well. Look at Virat Kohli. I think Shubman Gill gonna do really well tomorrow. Varun Chakravarti, Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar, Jadeja, Mohammad Shami is doing really well. toss will be very vital. So 100 ओवर का खेला बहुत गजबे होगा कल.
तो कल क्या 4 स्पिनर्स के साथ जाएंगे क्या?
सेम कॉम्बिनेशन के साथ ही खेलना चाहिए क्योंकि जब कुछ टूटा नहीं है तो जोड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है.
नहीं बिल्कुल, देखिए उतना आसान नहीं होगा, लेकिन फिर भी देखा जाए जिस तरह से भारतीय टीम अपनी क्रिकेट खेल रही है, आपके ओपनर्स रन बना रहे हैं, मिडल ऑर्डर बड़ा अच्छा है, विराट कोहली जबरदस्त फॉर्म में आ गए, श्रेयस अय्यर जी उनको बड़ा अच्छा कॉम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं. हमने पिछले मैच में हार्दिक पांड्या मेनली, क्योंकि मिडल ऑर्डर अभी तक उतना ज्यादा एक्सपोज हुआ नहीं था, उतनी बारी आई नहीं थी, बट उनकी बैटिंग आनी शुरू हो गई है. अक्षर पटेल की अगर बात की जाए तो वो केएल राहुल से पहले उनको भेजा जा रहा है कि उन पर ज्यादा भरोसा जताया जा रहा है. तो आपकी जो बैटिंग लाइन है वो बड़ी जबरदस्त अच्छी परफॉर्म कर रही है. स्पिनर्स नंबर 1 पेस है, खासकर हम जब से पहले दिन से टूर्नामेंट शुरू हुआ, हम सारे मैच दुबई में खेल रहे हैं, हमें पता है विकेट क्या बिहेव करने वाला.
Okay, Satish sir is the only one who's left on the show. Jamie has gone in. He needs to go back and get ready for the toss. Shekhar's also gone back, but I have Satish sir. A few last questions, sir. Then, if India win the toss, I know that you've said that it's not going to be a big challenge, but if they do win the toss, should they bat first? And what should be the total that India should look for?
Look, I think they will bat first. Given a choice, I think they will bat first. Because there will be, since there's no dew, we'll be hoping for the afternoon sun to bear down on the pitch and some more cracks to develop and all. So that's something that they'll be hoping for. So that I think they will bat first if they happen to win the toss, which is very unlikely, of course. But then the total, well, look, you don't approach a match with a certain total in mind, because you have to assess that day's conditions. There was talk that the pitch is going to be the same one as the one used against Pakistan, which was actually quite slow. So you then have to gauge, bat the first 5 overs maybe, see how it's behaving, and at every point, depending on again the wickets in hand, you decide as to how much you have to accelerate and when. And you know the rules now with the different power plays. So you actually have very good chance between 10 and from the 11th to 40th also, because you've got only 4 fielders outside. So there is a lot of scope with our middle order, which something like Shreyas Iyer is exploiting very well, that field restrictions. So I don't think they'll go in with any big total in mind. They'll just say, look, let's suss out the conditions first and aim at, obviously anything about 260, 270 is what you want to start with. But in today's one-day cricket, on normal wickets, 300 is a given. But Dubai wickets seem to be having something in them, just the slowness maybe. So even a 275 should be a decent total to set or to chase down.
Okay, so they will look at getting to 260, 275 is a good total to be set on this wicket. With that, we've come to the end of this show. Satish Vishwanathan, thank you so much for taking the time out. Jamie Alter, who's already left us, and Shekhar Luthra as well, gentlemen. Thank you so much, sir, once again. Well, that's it then on this special. We will be back at 6 or as soon as the first innings finishes, so that we can talk about what has happened in that inning. So join us then. For now, we're cheering for Team India. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
The brand Aparna Sen, it is a fascinating journey.
I've basically pretty much lived on my own terms.
You stood your ground as a woman.
This is how we were